So a T-minus 1 day and counting to the NBA draft. Now, I'll show you the latest mock draft. Certainly everyone knows what's happening at number 1. Victor Wembanyama, he'll go first to the Spurs. He's about as exciting a prospect as the league has ever seen. Now, the projection is that Alabama's Brandon Miller will go 2 to Charlotte. He led all Division I freshmen in scoring last year, just under 19 points a game. And then Scoot Henderson, the raves that we are hearing from him everywhere. He's from the G League Ignite. He's projected to go 3. Here's Brian Windhorst on Damian Lillard's future.
So I checked in on the Lillard side of things about whether or not that there had been a change of heart there, and I was told unequivocally, no. Dame does not want a youth movement. He wants to play with veterans. He wants the team to upgrade fast and immediately with veteran players that can help him now.
All right, so what I was trying to say there is that Damian Lillard is keeping a very close eye on what his team does at number 3, because if they do decide to use that pick rather than trading it for some veteran help, it could finally be the domino that falls that sends Damian Lillard to making a trade demand, the sort of thing that we have waited years to see if he'll do.
Yeah, and Thursday night, 2 franchises are going to be majorly impacted, right? Well, obviously the San Antonio Spurs adding Victor Wembanyama, but then at pick number 3, the Portland Trailblazers could go from a rebuild to a rebuilding team almost overnight. If they make the pick and keep Scoot Henderson, you would almost have to expect that right after that, whether it's that night or the next day, Damian Lillard, or at least his camp, goes to the Portland Trailblazers and says, okay, what are you doing with me? Because I'm not here for a rebuild. And he has to do it. He doesn't want to be the bad guy, but if they're into a rebuild and he doesn't want to be around for it, they're going to have to move him. And he becomes the biggest chip in the offseason. I know Bradley Beal was just traded, but nothing bigger than moving Damian Lillard, because we've been waiting years for this to happen.
I agree with you completely. He's the best player that will move, and that includes the possibility of Zion, whom we'll talk about in a minute. Friedell, what do we have our eye on with Lillard?
If he wants to win a title, it's time to go. And now, when I'm with you, we're going to find out a lot about what happens with that pick. But even if they trade away that pick and try to get some help, Portland's not ready to win a title. It's not their time. Now is the time for Lillard. If he's really serious about a championship, he goes to them and says, hey, guys, it's been great. I know what I've said to everybody in the NBA media for years and years. I want to stay. I want to be here forever. But I really want to win a ring. And this is the moment to ask for it and to make it happen.
Okay, this is a moment where franchises across the league are being reshaped. And Alan and I were talking this morning, and I think we figured out one that needs to be aggressive here, and that is in Philadelphia, and there may be more reasons than you think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You have to, if you're Daryl Morey, as much as you have a relationship with James Harden, and you feel like running it back with James Harden would be the right thing to do, you've got to be really careful in Philadelphia right now, not just about trying to get over the hump out of the second round for the first time since 2001. Think about how long that's been, by the way, in this process with Joel Embiid. But you also have to put a priority on your most important player, and that guy's not James Harden. It's Joel Embiid. You got to make sure that you're doing everything you have to do to help him win, because if you don't, if Damian Lillard is available, and you do have pieces to make a trade to get him, it's going to hurt, it's going to cost, but you got to be all in on something like this. Because if you don't, and you once again run into the brick wall that is the second round, Joel Embiid a year from now could be on the topic bar, like we are saying right here. Would Joel Embiid be a good fit with the Knicks?
That is something that I'm starting to hear little whispers about all over the place. I think a lot of people are, and I see you nodding along, my insider extraordinaire here, Friedell. Talk to me.
Well, it's going to happen. If the Sixers don't do it this year, hello, New York. Embiid's going to say, hey, Madison Square Garden would be a pretty fun place to play. Yeah. But, Greeny, what I would tell you is if you're Lillard and you built up all the goodwill that you have in Portland for all these years, it's up to you to say, I want to go here. I want to go to the place where I think I can win and I can get you a couple pieces back.
And where is that place?
That is Miami. Miami is the place where Dame Lillard goes right now with Jimmy Butler, with Bam Adebayo, with Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley. and they win. The question is, do the Heat have the assets to make
Well, that's, yes, I was about to raise my hand and say
No, they
Philadelphia. So Alan and I have been cooking up this trade, by the way, just so you know, Friedell. We came
I
ready
can
for
feel it.
Alan and I had a conversation this morning, and we have worked out the trade to Philadelphia already. They can trade them Tyrese Maxey, who, by the way, I love
him.
and so does everybody in the league. That's a young piece people will like. And then there's an expiring contract.
Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris expiring contract. So that's something Portland might like to have. What is Miami offering?
They can offer Tyler Hero and a boatload of picks. And Greeny, if we've learned anything about the Heat over the years, they can get creative and find ways to make things happen. But this is the part that I think is crucial. Lillard's going to have to go to them if this is the decision he makes and say, I want to be in Miami. Let's find a way to make this happen. And I think he has proven that he's done so much for that organization that this is one of those times where they could help him. But if Lillard goes to Miami next year, guys, they can come out of the East, because what's the one piece that's missing for the Heat?
Yeah.
It's that extra offense down the stretch when Butler doesn't have it going to take some pressure off him. He would fit in immediately into that culture. He's ready to win a title just like Jimmy is, and I think it is the perfect basketball fit if the Heat front office get creative as they usually are.
I hear it. And look,
Shake the
and
East.
he was talking about it. He said it to Brian Custer right on his podcast that Miami would be his chosen destination. So there's a lot of interesting things going on with the possibility of Lillard leaving. There's also at least one interesting possibility if Lillard decides to stay where he is, because the name Zion Williamson has been kicked around and all this talk about possible trades and the possibility of that third pick. Brian Windhorst telling us here that if the third pick turns into Scoot Henderson, if that player from the G League is available at that point, that might be something that New Orleans would want and would be willing to trade Zion to get. I will just point this out because this is the new currency of sports conversation today. There was a tweet suggesting that Zion should come to the Blazers, and Damian Lillard liked that tweet. Now, in 2023, that's sort of like holding a press conference and saying, this is the guy that I want. What do we think of that? Zion, is that a new super team? Zion and Damian Lillard in Portland. Hahn.
I mean, it is a very compelling duo when you think about great duos in the NBA. And I'll tell you what, box office duos, yeah, this is definitely going to be one of them. Those are two brand names. You don't need last names here. It's Dame, it's Zion. That's all you have to reference there. Single syllable brand names. And that's what they would have there in Portland. Now, does it come at risk? Of course it does, because you don't know Zion's availability. Let's remember when he was rehabbing his foot 2 years ago. Where did he spend most of his time, Nick Friedell?
Portland.
That's right. He was up in Oregon by the Nike headquarters in Beaverton. He was up in that area, spent a lot of time up there. So he already knows the area pretty well and seems to be comfortable being up there. And then it's, of course, does it a new stage playing with a dynamic player like Dame Lillard, wake him up, give him a little more motivation to stay in shape, which I can't believe I just said that about an NBA player, but this is where we are today. Liking a tweet, yeah, it's like basically Damian Lillard would love for the Portland Trail Blazers to trade for Zion Williamson. Source, like the tweet. That's your source. So you know he'd be all in. And by the way, if they made a move like this, also keep in mind Jeremy Grant, who's a free agent, probably would say, I'm staying, which now makes that team a little bit more interesting to watch. Are they a championship contender? Not yet, but it sets them up now to have a team that maybe another move can get them on the level of being a championship contender.
But Alan, we're still banking on Zion Williamson, who's getting paid $200 million to stay in shape. And that has not been proven to be something that he wants to do.
Is that important?
Exactly. That's a little
caveat
ingredient that we need in all this mix. But if you're Dame Lillard, that's a scary state of affairs for Portland. The guy that you think can help save you and make you want to stay for a couple years is Zion, who has not proven that he can stay healthy. Guys, what happens the first time next year? They make the move for Zion. And we all sit here in the next few months, oh, Zion and Dame. Zion gets hurt. Oh, he gained a bunch of weight again.
And
he's
now
not going to
Dame
be able
wants
to
out
come back.
again, right?
And Dame wants
But
gone.
you have 2 ways to go here if you're Portland. 2 ways to go. And every franchise, anyone that you're a fan of a franchise, you understand, put yourself, no matter who team you root for, think of it this way. Your team has 2 places to go right now. You could take a number 3 pick in the draft, a 19-year-old who looks special, but you don't know. There's no guarantees there. Or you keep your generational superstar happy and add a high-level talent that you just have to motivate. Which way do you want to go?
If you're Dame, though, you have to really face the honesty that's looking back at you in the mirror. And, Alan, you said it. If Zion's healthy, can they be good? Yes. Are they better than Denver? Are they better than Phoenix? Are they better than the Lakers? No, they're better, but they're not winning a title. If Dame wants to move, this is the time to ask for the move and get yourself in a place you want to be.
So the intrigue will be at 3. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.